I had to look at it from a long term because I wasn't going to give up on the game.
Right.
So I had to say, okay, this year I'm going to get better at that. Next year, this.
Progression!
And then patiently I was able to catch them.
Oh, shit. This is Mongolian Mindset, and today we are going to be retyping Kobe Bryant. Yes, guys, I will admit I mistyped Kobe. Previously, I typed him ISFP. I had to take that video down, but we'll be typing him today. All I can say is, man, you get better with typing, and gotta admit when you do type somebody wrong, and yeah, I mistyped Kobe. But so what? Personality database continues to mistype shit. So they got him as the ISTP. We'll be using Linda Barrens Interaction styles and temperament combined with our cognitive functions. We do have a breakdown of all of the interaction styles and the cognitive functions. I believe they are by far the best cognitive function breakdowns on the internet. I highly recommend you look at those. You too will be able to type random people in your life, family members, friends. I do it at the bars. Me and Cal are doing it all the fucking time. Watch those videos, get caught up to speed. Okay, yes, I admit I mistyped Kobe, ISFP. He's not an ISFP, guys. And at the end of the video, I'll be going over the red flags that I should have known, and this may potentially help you type in as well. And I'll go over the red flags that I should have known. Okay, but like we say, we had him as an ISFP, guys. That's quite fucking shameful. I'm disgraced. But ISFPs are responding. They're informative. They're concrete. They're interest-based. They're pragmatic. They're TEFI and they're SENI. He's not going to meet those metrics, but we're going to figure out what his actual real personality type is so we can get Kobe actually right. Okay, guys? For the guys who have his same personality type, shame on you for not saying nothing. Shame on you. Okay? But let's get into it. We have our metrics over here. Once he starts knocking some of them off, we're going to put it down. And guys, you definitely want to join our Discord. That place is on absolute fire. I love what the mods are doing over there. It's an easy way to ask me any questions. Generally speaking, if it's a fictional character that I do know, you can ask me there because a lot of time with the fictional characters, you get copy strikes and shit. So I did do a long ass video of Sasuke, and that bitch got copy struck. Sasuke is an ENTP. Okay, Naruto's an INFJ, but I mean, if you look at any fucking shonen, they're practically the same. You got a guy on the journey who knows what he wants, keeps screaming, I'm gonna be this, I'm gonna be this. I mean, even if you take what's the shit? What's the one with the little wizards with Asta? He's always talking about what he's gonna do in the future. Nobody believed him, but then he ends up becoming it. Naruto the same way. All these guys, same shit. They're on the journey, SENI, and they're affiliative. Already knocks you off to an NFJ, okay, and they're on journey, so INFJ. But let's get into it. That pattern just keeps going over and over. But yeah, join the Discord. It's lit over there. I'll be in there. You can ask me questions. You can ask me anything, man. Inbox is always open. Always got extra information for you guys. And guys, I did miss the Mega Live this Friday. Totally forgot about it. I don't know why Cody didn't remind me. I'm blaming you, Cody. Fuck you. But we'll be doing that this Friday. So guys, all you have to do is join it. It'll be 4 p.m. this Friday. We talk about any and everything.
The first question I want to ask you, because so much of your content right now that you're creating here at Granity is aimed at helping young people, aimed at helping children. And as a father of 4 girls, I wanted to ask you, what's the biggest thing you've learned about yourself by being a father?
It's amazing. Like when you become a parent, things become much more, life becomes, it lines things up for you a little differently. Right? Like before you have kids, me and my wife, we can travel anytime, there's work and, you become you have a very clear focus. When you have children, it becomes about.
Talking about clear focus here. Focus is attached to NI, okay? So we're going to hit up for NISE because NI and SE are on the axis. If you use NI, you're using also SE. Okay, he's talking about clear focus here.
Them. It's not about you guys anymore, right? And so that shift, it's a big one. You know, it's one of kind of a selfishness together, and then to being absolutely selfless and doing anything you can for your kids. And so what I'm trying to do is create content to teach them first and foremost. That's why I started this whole thing, is just reading stories to them that I felt like didn't exist. You know, our kids are athletes, and they love reading about princesses and all these fairy tales, and you know, they get a little sick and tired about the man saving the princess.
Okay, so he's talking about creating something that does not exist. You guys know exactly what metric that goes under. That goes under abstract, okay? Doesn't matter if it's a concrete thing. He's creating something that does not exist, which means he's taking it from the abstract and making it real.
Says every time,
Concrete.
You know, the same old stuff, magical wands and all that. My kids are athletes, man. They want to learn about soccer balls and basketballs and volleyballs and, you know, magic that comes from that.
You can say any there, because he said they want whatever.
Yeah, and I love that you're encouraging young people to think more imaginatively about sports.
Yeah.
And I think that's where you go a
that?
step.
You see that? He wants people to think imaginative. Okay, what does that tell you about Kobe Bryant? Huh? That should show off a red flag right there. He wants you to use imagination even with sports. That tells you that this man's not concrete.
Deeper, you know, for me, observing you and learning about you and hearing you speak in other interviews and everything, what I'm fascinated by is that you've dealt with things in life pretty head on, right? You've always gone at it. What took you a while? What was something in your life that you were shy about originally, or that took you a while to go head on with, but then finally you got there and you figured it out?
Writing Dear Basketball. That was a hard jump, you know, because I'd written before. I mean, I started writing probably about 17 years ago. So,
now ask yourself, does Kobe sound informative to you? The answer is no. Okay, the answer is no. It is direct as fuck. Okay.
So practicing every day. A lot of things that I wrote were ads. And so you write an ad, nobody looks up at who wrote the ad, right? You can kind of, there's a certain anonymity that comes along with that, right? But writing Dear Basketball was different. You know, it's putting it out there for the world to see. It's trying to create a short film. And I didn't know if I could do it, man. And, you know, it was my daughter who kind of put things in perspective for me, Gianna. She's now 13. And she was like, well, you always tell us to go for it. So...
She put you on the spot.
Yeah, she put me on the spot. She was like, you gonna talk about it? You gonna be about it, basically. And and that gave me the final push.
I love that. When you started writing 17 years ago, did you envision that one day you would move into this storytelling space, or was it just something you enjoyed at the time?
No, man. It's just something I enjoyed, and I enjoyed writing ads. It was something funny about trying to distill a message down into 30 seconds or a minute, depending on the budget. You know what I mean? Trying to say something important, trying to speak to the brand attributes, but also speak to something that's greater and that has a stronger message, stronger philosophical message. And how do you connect those dots? So putting that puzzle together.
Oh, we're getting abstract and systematic here. We're getting abstract and systematic. Yes, Kobe. I apologize, man. I should be ashamed of myself. We're getting abstract and systematic here. Even when he goes to making a fucking ad. And what he generally does, and what this personality type generally does, is they start small and then they scale it up. Start small, where they have like no sense of failure, and then eventually they scale it up.
Trying to speak to the brand attributes, but also speak to something that's greater and that has a stronger message, stronger philosophical message. And how do you connect those dots? So putting that puzzle together was something that was really intriguing.
Yeah.
But I never thought I'd be writing novels or movies and that sort of stuff. Never, man.
I love that, man. I love it how everything evolves naturally. And actually hearing you say that, it reminds me.
Yeah. So you're saying you didn't really have an outcome there, so you can go in and hit him for progression. Okay.
So my vision, when I was sharing earlier, became very clearly making wisdom go viral.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, how do I take these teachings that are like so sacred, they're hidden away in these books, and how do I make them really relevant and accessible and practical to the whole world? Because I know that anyone can access them. They're universal, right? These teachings can apply to anyone, but sometimes they're just hidden away.
Sure.
And a young person doesn't know how to find them. So that inspires me hearing them.
That's beautiful too, because especially in today's in today's world. There's so much clutter. It becomes harder for kids to try to weave through a lot of the crap that's out there to find stuff that's actually beneficial to them.
Yeah, it was. I think you reminded me. I think E.O. Wilson said, "We're drowning in information, starving for wisdom."
Yes,
right?
for sure.
Especially, and that's why I think your work is cutting through, because I think what you've managed to do with your new work is that you're finding ways to connect with what people care about, but you're taking it a step deeper.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You're not just settling for let's talk about sports. It's not just about sports. It's
Right.
about life, right?
It's about the metaphor that sports has for life. I mean,
about the metaphor that sports has for life. Abstract again. Okay. Oh, I guess
it's about the metaphor that sports has for life. I mean, sports is the greatest metaphor we have in terms of dealing with life. Because, even if you listen to music will give you guidance, right? That you can then
You see this guy's not informing. I don't know what I was thinking when I put this man down for informing. Maybe I need to be drug tested. Maybe Mercer needs to be drug tested.
Meditate on and think about how you would apply it. In sports, you have to apply it in the here and now. I mean, you're faced with
apply it in the here and now. That's SE.
Challenges moment to moment. You're faced with pressures and anxiety and communication or the lack thereof and all this other stuff. Like, it's in the moment. So you have to live it. And when you practice those things, you become better at it. But I just feel like in this day and age, our children have become less imaginative about how to problem solve. And parents and coaches have become more directive in trying to mandate or give orders or teach kids how to think and teach kids how to behave and tell them how to behave versus teaching them how to behave. And so that's why I'm creating these stories and creating this content.
Yeah, I love that. I think it's so true. When you treat people as kids, then they always be kids.
Right.
Even when they grow up.
Yeah.
And for you, it was really powerful because you've talked about this before, where your father said to you, like, whether you score 0 or 60, like, I love you.
Yeah.
Tell me what that statement meant to you at that time, and how did it actually motivate you to continue scoring 60 rather than go, oh, I'm all right at 0?
Well, it did more than that, right? So like the basketball stuff speaks for itself in terms of what that comment did for me in terms of giving me stability and giving me confidence to say, okay, it's okay to fail because you're going to be loved no matter what. And that doesn't just mean basketball. That means anything in life. Yeah, that means writing. That means being an entrepreneur. That means having the confidence to go for it.
Okay, guys, if you do have his personality type, you definitely want to be taking notes on what this man is saying. Kobe is God tier level, okay? Kobe is God tier level. If you have his type, there's even if you are the extroverted version of his type, you should be taking fucking notes on what this man says.
And I've seen too many parents do the exact opposite, and it terrifies children, and children become paralyzed by their own fear because they don't have that security blanket of love and comfort.
Yeah, absolutely. How have you been able to, in your life, see past the cloud of emotion to actually execute on things? Because I think what we were speaking about earlier, this challenge that young people have today, everyone has today, of just so much information, so much cloud of emotion, so many feelings, so much childhood baggage that you're bringing. Like, how have you always cut through that and execute on that?
What I try to do is just try to be still and understand that things come and go, emotions come and go. The important thing is to accept them all, to embrace them all. And then you can choose to do with them what you want versus being controlled by emotion. A lot of times I've seen players, even myself, when I was younger, being consumed by a particular fear. And to the point where you're saying, okay.
Consumed by a particular fear. And you guys know we're going there. Kobe Bryant's Enneagram 6, sexual. Okay, and you guys know, generally speaking, when we give somebody that 6 sexual, we know where we're going here.
Nah, it's not good to feel fear. I shouldn't be nervous in a situation like that. And it does nothing but grow versus stepping back and saying, yeah, I am nervous about the situation. Yeah, I am fearful about the situation. Well, what am I afraid of? And then you kind of unpack it. And then it gives you the ability to look at it for really what it is, which is nothing more than your imagination running its course,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Unpack SC inferior, okay? once you unpack SC inferior, you know that, who cares if you fucking fail? Who cares? People gonna laugh at you. People gonna make fun of you. People gonna say something. But once you realize that, you can move forward with that. That's what he's talking about there. Okay.
I love that, because what you're saying is that when you're dealing with something, it's almost like, how can I get to the root of it?
Yeah.
Because sometimes what we're dealing with, like you're saying, it's an imagination, an illusion. It's not really.
It's not really a thing.
Yeah.
Like you think about game-winning shots or game-winning free throws, and people go to the free throw line and they're nervous about it. Well, what are you really nervous about? If you unpack that, okay, you're nervous that you're going to miss the shot. All right, so you missed the shot, then what happens? People are going to be embarrassed. You're going to be embarrassed because thousands of people, millions of people see you miss the shot. All right, and then what? People are going to talk bad about you. Okay, right? And so you're looking at it and go, are those things even important? You know what I mean? If that is my fear, like,
are those things even important? That's FI, TE, FI, TE and FI on the same axis, so FI there.
What is, you worried about letting your teammates down? Okay, have you let them down before? Oh, I'm sure, in practice and things of that nature, right? They're still there.
Yeah.
And so when you're able to unpack it, you kind of look at it for what it is, which is really nothing.
Yeah, I love that. Breaking it down. I think that's so important. I think everyone who's listening and watching right now, next time you're facing a fear, next time you're going against something, do that. Like literally unpack it. Don't just settle for your first answer, because the first answer is rarely the right one.
Yeah, don't hide from it. You got to be able to look at it and, and deal with it head on.
Yeah, I love that, man. And you talk about that because you talk about, when you talk about missing 5 throws and you talk about getting over yourself.
Yeah.
Right? Like getting over yourself. How did you get that mentality of just being like,
direct, responding, systematic, progressions, abstract, he's INTJ.
I need to get over this. Like I need to get over myself.
Trial and error. You grow up.
Trial and error is progression. That's a progression mindset. Trial and error, go back.
And you talk about that because you talk about, when you talk about missing 5 throws and you talk about getting over yourself.
Yeah.
Right? Like getting over yourself. How did you get that mentality of just being like, I need to get over this. Like I need to get over myself.
Trial and error. You grow up and you make game-winning shots and it's awesome. You come back the next day and miss a game-winning shot and it's misery. And then the next day comes and you're back playing again. And you understand that life has this cyclical nature where it's, what you do on
life has this cyclical nature that's abstract again.
Monday, it's fantastic, but then Tuesday is a bad day. But guess what? There's Wednesday. Yeah. So are we just supposed to live our lives like this the whole time? Versus just staying like this and understanding that it's really just a journey of evolution every day.
Journey of evolution, progression.
Hey, it's just constant improvement, constant curiosity,
constant improvement, progression.
Getting better. The results don't really matter.
The results really don't matter. The outcome doesn't really matter. Progression. Let's go ahead and hit him. Okay, so guys, he is progression. I fucked up and typed him outcome at first. I was, I'll talk about it at the end why I fucked this guy, why I fucked this up. Direct progression, so he's automatically ISTJ, ISTP, INTJ or INFJ, okay? So, yeah, let's keep going
here. It's the figuring out that matters.
Yeah. And we all get obsessed about the results.
Yeah.
Like we get obsessed about like the output.
Yeah.
Not the input, of not figuring it out and not like changing things. What you said, trial and error, like the experimenting.
Yeah.
We forget to do that.
It's unfortunate, man. Like I've seen a lot of players, especially now, in youth basketball dealing with that. You have players that are like bigger and faster and stronger, and their coaches are just coaching them for results. We're just going to use your size because you're bigger than every other 12-year-old out there to dominate.
He's laughing at the people that are outcome. He's laughing at the people that are outcome because they're using the outcome, using the players to get an outcome.
Dominate today, but they're not growing, right? So there's just
no growth, progression.
Based on that result, but they're not focused on growing this young child into becoming a better athlete. And through that, teaching them how to become a more well-rounded person. And we're missing that.
Yeah. See what you've said there, I want to ask you this, and I'm not saying because you know yourself best and you know how you've got there. So I'm asking it from a place of humility, of learning. When I look at you, I'm like, your superpower isn't just your work ethic. Your superpower isn't just like figuring things out. Your superpower is like you think strategically. Like that's a very strategic thought.
Strategic intelligence. What group has strategic intelligence? That would be the NTs. Which of the NTs has probably the most strategic intelligence? It's probably the INTP or the INTJ. That's the reason why they're most likely to be your chess champions. Those two right there.
Thought of saying this person could be this in the...
Yeah, and just to go over it, we have a video on that as well, which, SJs have logistical intelligence, getting the right people in the right place at the right time, handling all of the fucking paperwork and shit like that. While you have your SPs, which are more in the tactical space, the here and now, and then you have your NTs, which is strategic, and then you have your NLs, which is diplomatic intelligence. Okay.
Future, if they were developed as a whole individual, rather than just like let's use them for the short term.
Right.
Like, where did you develop that from? That ability to see beyond, to think deeper, to reflect deeper. Where did that come from?
Well, I had to do that because I growing up in Italy. When I first moved over there, it was I didn't speak Italian. I didn't have any friends. I had the game of basketball, and through sport and playing soccer, I was able to make friends and build connections. But it was a lot of time spent alone. And when I came back to the States, I wasn't the most athletic kid. I was really scrawny, like really, really skinny, and had like major knee issues because I was growing. So I was the dorky kid with high socks and big old knee pads.
It's fashionable now.
It's fashionable now. It wasn't then. It wasn't then. And so I had to look long term because in the here and now, I couldn't compete with these kids.
Had to look long term. Had to look longer term. Okay, you see that? He's like, okay, I know that I can't compete with these people today, but you know what I can do? I can get their ass long term.
Big old knee pads.
It's fashionable now.
It's fashionable now. It wasn't then. It wasn't then. And so I had to look long term because in the here and now, I couldn't compete with these kids. There's kids.
The SC, I couldn't compete. SC is also competing.
That were like 12 years old with beards. Like I can't. What am I supposed to do with that? Like they're doing windmills and dunking backwards, and I'm happy to like tap the backboard, So I had to look at it from a long term because I wasn't going to give up on the game.
Right.
So I had to say, okay, this year I'm going to get better at that. Next year, this, and then so forth and so on, and then
that's a systematic approach, okay, and progression. That's a systematic approach. I'm going to get better at this, then I'm going to tackle that, and then I'm going to tackle this.
Patiently, I was able to catch them.
Yeah. I love hearing that.
With my strong long-term vision and being systematic in progression, I was able to catch them.
Because I think so many of us you believe like when you see people like yourself, it's like, it's so easy as an excuse to ourselves to just be, oh, you're destined for it, right? You were made for it. It's kind of like that kind of, oh yes, but when you talk about saying, oh, actually, when I started, I didn't have the physicality that meant that I was going to make it. Like you had to figure it out. And I love it.
Figure it out, man. It's just piece by piece. And it's the consistency of the
piece by piece progression.
Work, which I feel like a lot of parents are missing today because we're not teaching that to our kids. We tend to say like kids don't want to do the work, but in reality, it's when we're failing them because we're not leading them the right way and teaching them, how to fish. You know what I mean? And so like the consistency of work, Monday, get better. Tuesday, get better. Wednesday, get better. Right?
Progression.
Right, and you do that over a period of time, not like
you do that over a period of time. See, the thing about Kobe that really shocked me is that this guy is able to keep this up. He was able to keep this type of mindset up his entire fucking life. Okay? And there's people that can't even go to the gym 3 days a fucking week. This guy's working out 4 times a fucking day because he believed in his vision. He believed in the progression and he believed in his system, okay? And that is how Kobe became one of the greatest basketball players of all time while being athletically probably middle of the pack, okay? He's not Michael Jordan when it comes to jumping out gym. I think Kobe had a vertical of like a 38. Now, I forget how insane Michael Jordan's was. He wasn't the fastest, but what did he do?
Month or 2 months. I mean, it's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. And then you can get to
playing on the vision 10 years down the road. This man's talking about something 10 years down the road. It's kind of funny sometimes when you tell somebody like, yo, this guy's thinking 10 years down the road. And they'll say, Mercer, well, that's concrete. And I asked them, you think you're an INTJ, you think you're an INTP, where the fuck is your long-term vision? What have you accomplished long-term? Absolutely nothing. But see, the thing is that people get into this mindset that because they see the end product of Kobe, but you didn't see that little 12-year-old kid that said, I'm going to be the greatest basketball player ever. And everybody else looked at him like he was crazy. But he had a vision, and he implemented, and he went and did it. You look at an end product, you didn't see how he got there. Okay, it's all fun and games, you know, when the mission is over, the person can climb the mountain, and you're like, oh, you know, that's not that hard, man. What have you done, man? You ain't done shit.
where you want to go.
Yeah, I think it was Bill Gates who was talking about that. He talks about how like we overestimate what we can do in 1 year and underestimate what we can do in 10 years.
No doubt.
Right? Like it's
we type Bill Gates INTP.
like that, you know.
No doubt.
I think everyone thinks about it, like, what can I do right now? Like, how can I make it happen? But like with you, I think people always ask you also like, you know, how do you deal with losing or failure? What I'm intrigued by is how someone like you deals with winning. Because you've won again and again. And like I was saying earlier, you won, obviously we know you won in basketball big as an athlete, but you're winning now, even in the work you're doing here as a storyteller, as a producer, right? Yeah. It's amazing to see so many incredible awards coming through. How have you dealt with winning? Like when you win, what goes through your mind to help you to continue winning?
Well, it's a little different. Like in basketball, it was different because I expected to win, Like I expected us to win championships. I expected us to win 5. Quite honestly, I expected us to win 8. And so when you have that vision in sports, it's a direct competition. Like I
vision and
know how hard they're working. I know how hard we're working. I know
how hard they're working. SE, I know how hard we're working.
Their strategy is. I know what ours is. So it's a little
strategies again. Okay, he's looking at strategy, strategic intelligence.
Little different. So when we went in the NBA, it was like, yeah, we expected to do that, but now we're going to come back and we're going to do it again, And so it's that constant, like, all right, you're churning. You win one championship, I'm back in the gym the next day, working, getting ready for the next one. Now it's different because it's not about the awards. You just wind up trying to create something that's going to inspire someone.
Inspire, SE, impact.
That hopefully, through that inspiration, they can inspire somebody else. And what I've come to learn as my career went on is that's more significant than any championship. Is how do you connect with somebody that can then connect with another? And then with whether the awards come or not, that's for, the Academy Award body to decide. Yeah. But, like for us, it's just to try to create things.
Yeah. Well, I guess now that's what shifted, that now the intention isn't even expecting to win, it's expecting to change lives.
Right.
Right? Like your content is really about making a difference and an impact on young people's lives.
Sure.
Which I think is like the biggest way of winning.
I think so. I mean, you're looking at 62% of young children are dropping out of sports.
62% of young children, that's empirical data, statistics, TE.
62%. And they cite the fact that it's not fun anymore. Well, what is that telling? I mean, that's telling us as grown-ups are getting in the way. Get out the way. Let these kids be imaginative, which, like in our stories, it's important that, yeah, there's a fantasy nature to it, right? But it's rooted in reality, right? When we have fire-breathing winged horses and things of that nature, those are actual drills that are taking place. We don't have fire-breathing winged horses actually performing that, but we do have ball machines that are spitting balls at tennis players, right? And so all of our stories are all anchored in an element of truth, so that children feel like when they are doing these drills with these ball machines, they can envision maybe it's a fire-breathing winged horse.
Yeah, to keep them
There's abstraction starting to come out there, you know.
Yeah, they can envision Gus throwing fireballs at them.
Yeah.
And even the plays, like when in the Wizard series, when the basket is opening up and shrinking, these are things that we experience as athletes. Like some days I feel like I can't make a shot, man, and the basket feels like the size of a keyhole.
Yeah.
And other days it looks like a swimming pool.
Yeah.
That's magic. And so we root our magic in reality, so that when kids experience these things, particularly the failure side of it, they can connect it to one of our stories and say, okay, I've seen this before. I know how to deal with this.
Yeah. That's beautiful, man. I love that analogy of like feeling the basket bigger or smaller, and like being able to vision that. I can vision it right now. And like, yeah, you're so right. Like some days it looks huge, and I love that. That's such a great
yeah, because you abstract as well.
way of thinking about it. And I guess so much of this is from your real life vision.
Oh yeah.
This is like some days
I've experienced it.
Yeah. But I love that, because it's also giving them the permission to say, like, be imaginative about this, right?
Yes.
And that obviously gives so much. I think when we imagine, it changes the reality of, I'm just sitting out here taking shots.
Yes.
Right? Which can get boring and tiring.
Becomes mechanical.
Mechanical, that's the right word.
Mechanical. Yeah. Like our job is to try to inspire the creativity inside of our children, so that they can think through how to problem solve situations. So like, when I coach my daughter's team, it's not about giving them answers. It's about asking them questions and getting them to process things. Right? When the game is being played, I'm not sitting there giving them answers or barking out things on the sideline. I sit down and I'm quiet. My assistant coach sits there and she's quiet. And the kids figure things out for themselves, or they don't. And then they come back and there's always questions. And then you kind of ask them more questions and you help them figure it out. But then you see their level of excitement to practice every day increase, because it's a process that they are owning. Right? They're not coming to.
He's helping people with their own process, progression, some more process, movement, whatever.
Get orders barked at them every day. You're coming for kind of their personal quest to get better.
Yeah. And how do your daughters feel about you coaching? I guess that style makes them feel comfortable, but how have you been able to manage that with the pressure of you being there?
No, it's no pressure, because it's their process to own. Like I have knowledge, information that I've gained through playing. So like the little details of things I can teach at a high level, but ultimately it's them.
Yeah, you seem very still and detached about it.
Yeah. I mean, it's the kids love playing basketball, and so that's the anchor of it all. They come and they play and they learn and they have fun, and and they compete, and they challenge themselves and one another, and they just get better every day. Yeah.
How have you seen that with Legacy and the Queen? You chose tennis.
Yeah.
Like what was the choice of sports about? I'm intrigued by that.
Yeah.
Why tennis?
Yeah. So like the first novel we did was the Wizard series. It was important for that to be basketball, because I wanted the first story to be one of empathy and compassion. And in team sports, if you don't have that, you can't win. Right. And so it was important to tell the tale of a basketball team dealing with their own personal fears, and have those fears and insecurities lead to empathy and compassion for others. Right. And with the second story, I wanted to look more internal, individually, and look at how do you deal with the inner challenges, the kind of the self-negotiation that takes place inside of our own heads. And there was no sport better than tennis. There's golf. But tennis, you have more movement, which to me symbolizes life in general, because life there's a lot.
All this is abstract. I mean,
going on, right? There's the elements in tennis that you have to deal with as you deal with in golf, maybe not to the same extent, but they're still there. And then there's the confrontation with the person across the net from you.
Yes.
Right? As well as the strengths and weaknesses in your own movements and how you feel in your own body. And because of that, it was important for this story to be a tennis story.
I love that. That makes complete sense. And give me an example of that.
He just walked you through the entire process of that, which a lot of INTJs do that. They have to go through the entire process of how they arrive there. So a lot of times people can confuse that with informing, but that's not, because everything he said there was very closed-ended. Informative language is open-ended, okay?
that self-negotiation. I love that word, and I get that. Can you expand on that a bit?
Like, you know, you're out running on a track, working out, and you start talking to yourself saying, man, my knee is really sore right now. Maybe I'm doing too much.
Sounds like me.
Maybe I need to back off, you know. Man, my lungs are burning. Maybe I can just slow down here. I'll do like an extra 2 sets tomorrow. You know, it'll be okay.
Yeah.
Right? That sort of stuff.
Yes.
Like that stuff's dangerous.
Yes.
And that's when you just got to say, you know what? I'm not negotiating with myself.
Yeah.
The deal was already made. The deal was made. When I set out at the beginning of the summer and said, this is the training plan I'm doing, I signed that contract.
This is the training plan, TE, systematic.
With myself, I'm doing it. You know, throughout that process, you'll start talking to yourself like, man, I got to
process again.
I think I need to, maybe if we, nope. No, this is non-negotiable.
Yeah, non-negotiable. Yeah, I love that. And for you, empathy and compassion were things that you'd been through. Like that was personally inspired work.
Yeah.
When did it come to your awareness that empathy was something missing for you and that you wanted to develop it?
FE Trickster. When did you work on FE Trickster, Kobe?
I had a teammate that spoke to me and said, hey, Kobe, you know, I just want to feel like as a teammate, you need me. I was like, well, duh. I can't, you know, like that was my immediate reaction. I was like, dude, yeah, of course. But I had to kind of think about really what he was saying and where that was coming from for him and his story and his journey and what that meant to him. And that opened my eyes to there's a bigger game being played. It's not just basketball, but it's the emotions of each individual and the backstory that they're carrying with them, the baggage that they're carrying with them. And if I really want to be a champion and be a great teammate, I have to understand what those mean to help them become better and in turn help me.
Yeah. And do you think this content is going to help all the content you're creating here at Granity? Is that for you to help build better bonds between parents and kids? Like, are you hoping that the podcast, for example, like kids are going to listen to it on the way to school or on the way back? Or like, how are you imagining people consuming the work?
Yeah, I mean, I imagine it in different ways, you know, but like ultimately people always figure out a way to do it that's comfortable for them. But like, you know, which is why in everything that we do, we try to create the highest quality of product. Right, like, you know, people will sit down and tell me, they'll say, okay, well, audiobooks, a very small percentage of people listen to audiobooks. We don't really have to invest too much in doing audiobooks. And what? Excuse me? No, because what if that one person just listens to audiobooks? That one family enjoys audiobooks. They have to.
What if that one person, that's abstraction,
get the best experience that I could possibly give them. So that means using a London orchestra. That means doing full symphonies. That means having Felicia Rashad read the stories. Like, it means everything. The books themselves. I got this all the time. There's no money in making books, man. Nobody makes money in books. And I'm sorry, you want to make a book with using what material?
You see that? That's what happened when you have a clear vision about what you want to do. You know where you're gonna go, but everybody else is around you saying, man, it ain't nothing in that. But the funny thing is once you accomplish it, people, oh man, you know that's expected of you, man, or whatever. Fuck, it's like, man, get the fuck out of my face.
You know, I'm like, you know, I'm like, yeah, because children matter. So like, I don't know how they're going. I imagine how they're going to be consuming content, but ultimately, it's my responsibility and our responsibility as a studio to make every single thing that we put out the highest quality possible.
Yeah, no, I can imagine parents listening to it.
On here, Kobe Bryant's INTJ, guys. Okay, so let's go over to the chart. Okay, responding. I mean, you could obviously see these guys responding. Abstract. Okay, Kobe Bryant's abstract. Okay, like I said, these people are envisioning their journey, their dreams. They're making their dreams come true. People don't realize is that, you know, once you're a kid and you start out with nothing, everybody just saying, you ain't going to do it. You ain't going to do it. You can't do it. It's impossible. You'll never be there. But if you have a clear vision and you know you want to go, you will get there. Okay. That's why a lot of times these strong NI users are in places where there's a lot of celebrities. Systematic. I mean, you can see that Kobe had a system for his training and the way he thinks about things. He's very strategic when it comes to things. Pragmatic, obviously. He wants to do what works. He believes in autonomy, self-autonomy. He's not about cooperation. He's direct. I screwed that up badly. Okay, I took Kobe Bryant as informative. That was clearly wrong. I don't know where I was at. I mean, drug test, Mercer. I guess so. Progression. This guy is so process focused. It's not even funny. Okay, he's not about the results. He's not about the end product. He literally said it's not about the end product. Okay, he believes if he builds the best process, he will get the results every time. Okay, obviously he's an SENI user, and he's TEFI. Okay, he's about the accomplishment. He's about the championships. He's about all of that. So we have him as an INTJ. Okay. He's a 6W7 sexual. Okay, /SO. Okay, I'm gonna go SO there. Dario Nardi subset. I'm gonna go dominant. He's a dominant INTJ. Dom. Is that everything? And man, I gotta give Kobe. I think if I had to rank all of the people that I've typed, okay, I gotta put Kobe at literally the top of the top. Okay, so he's in demigod. Okay, he's getting demigod ranking. Okay, and now I will go over the red flags that I should have known. Okay, first of all, you'll never meet a human being that is like always super focused, because if they're super focused, that tells you one thing about that person, right? That means they're very strong in NI. If they're super focused people, that means doing the same thing over and over, got a vision, all that's a red flag that this guy is somewhat strong in NI, right? And there's a difference between NI child and NI hero and NI parent, okay? As in what I could say, because Christian is an ISTP, what I've noticed is that Christian's focus wanes, right? Some days he got it, some days he don't. But somebody like myself, I always have it, to the point to where there's been times where I told Christian to his face, I'm like, because he's like, oh, you know, in the gym, blah, blah. And I said, if I would have had your body, I'd be bigger than you are currently. Because my vision never focused. My focus never, like, it never wanes. His is spotty. Some days it's there, some days it's not. So, that's a red flag right there. Like, okay, how is Kobe able to go to the highest level of NI, the highest level of focus? Like, this guy has more focus. I don't think I've met an INTJ on here with more focus than this guy. Out of all the INTJs we typed, I don't think I've met any one of them. So that's a huge red flag. Why would an ISFP be like that? Like these are clear red flags. And then sometimes, I was thinking to myself, maybe the Linda Barrens typing metrics are wrong. And whenever you think Linda Barrens typing metrics are wrong, you done mistyped somebody. Okay, that is a clear given sign whenever you start to think, man, maybe these metrics is wrong. And I did think about Kobe for quite a bit of time. It's like, man, that don't make that much sense. Then, I went back and reviewed him, and I was like, oh, this guy's an INTJ, and I mistyped him. But whenever you get the sign, or you think, man, maybe these interaction styles is wrong, you have mistyped somebody. Whenever you start giving out that word demigod a lot of times, you done mistype somebody. And I'm sorry for you, for the ISFPs out there, but yeah, he's not an ISFP. And if you want to compare Kobe, an INTJ versus an ISFP, you can literally pull up the Kobe and Shaq interview, right? You're gonna have Shaq on one side, he's an ISFP, and you're gonna have Kobe on the other side, who's an INTJ, okay? And you can notice the difference in that video alone. That will show you the difference, okay? And you'll see that what I talked about is true. In our child, they can be focused for a little bit and then it goes away. Focus for a little bit and it goes away. Focus for a little bit and it goes away. As the people that are stronger in NI, we're just always focused. Like, no matter what it is what it is. But like I said, that shit comes with a price. Everything comes with a price in life. But those are my red flags and I don't know how the fuck I got informative from that guy. But yeah, we'll be reviewing other typing sessions or celebrities type to make sure they're correct in the future. And if they are not correct, I will correct them and I will take the video down and I will say that I did mistype them. So, but thank you guys for watching. This is Mongolian Mindset and we are out.